Hi, welcome everybody to Empowered Women in Business. So I go live 11 o'clock on Thursdays and talk about how you can get your social enterprise, your business off the ground, or maybe even if you're already in business, but you're not making enough money and you want to get a little bit more, then I help you take the steps to find more clients, find more joy, find more time in your life. So that's what I'm all about. So, in case you don't know me, I'm Christine Stowe. I'm the founder and admin of Empowered Women in Business. And my background is that I was working in corporate and I was in medical sales and found out there was something wrong with my second daughter. And then from there, uh, my career fell in a heap. And I found myself applying for grants. I found myself standing on platforms. I found myself helping so many other people do the kinds of things that I do. So I mapped out the steps so that I could help you get your business, your passion, your project, your enterprise, or maybe it's a support group off the ground. So looking at the steps that I took and I put it into templates, put it into freebies, put it into YouTube channel, all those sorts of things. There's so many freebies in this group alone. I've got 25 frequently asked questions. So if that's something that you want to have a look at, then you're free to look at those things for free. Now, people have been asking me about startups. Now, on startups, if you're a startup in Australia, if you're a startup anywhere, what do you need to do? So the first thing that people have been asking me, what about my startup? Well, what about your startup? Just talking about your startup or your business alone won't get you the income or the finances or what it is that you need to get going. So on startups, you need to think about firstly, and I'll make some notes of this and then I'll put it into a template. Where's my pen? I'll make note. I mean, I've got some notes here, but I'll make sure that I put it into a template for you. So on startups, the first thing you need to do is to think about what sort of structure you're going to use. So what does your organization do? What does it do? Is it appropriate to have a not-for-profit? Is it appropriate to have an incorporated association? Is it appropriate to be a business structure? Now, just because you're a business structure doesn't mean there's not grants for you. And it doesn't mean that if you're a business structure that you're not doing good business or that you're not helping other people. You can set up business structures, a business structure, and still be helping people. You might be helping them with mental health. You might be helping them with disability. Whatever it is that you're doing, just because you're a business, it doesn't equal bad. It's just a different structure, and you need to consider the sorts of structure that suits your particular enterprise. We've got some people on. Lovely. Welcome. And just post a hello. Tell me whereabouts you're from. Tell me post your questions, and I'll see if I can answer them on the fly. But thank you for tuning in. And post your name. If you sign up to StreamYard, I can actually see who's actually watching. So if you've got a question, post it in the comments. Love to see what you have to say. Love to see your questions and try to answer them. So firstly, your structures. What sort of structure is it? And is the structure right for the kind of purpose and business that you're going to carry out? So that's the kind of thing that you need to think about. So I'll just put, comments aren't working here. I don't know why. Oh, now my little phone is ringing there. I'll turn that off. So the kind of structure. So there's three kinds of structures: not-for-profit, incorporated association, and business structure. And there's also charitable grant. What is it? I always get it wrong. DGR, so donor grant recipient structure. Those are not the sorts of structure. The donor grant recipient structure is not the sort of structure. That's a charitable organization. That's not the sort of structure that I would advise you to go for, because there's a lot of work involved before you actually see any income, and it's very expensive, and there's a lot of work involved before you actually see any income. And it's only really for really large organizations with a lot of money or a lot of income, things like Red Cross and things like that. I mean, you can do it, but I was on a board for a not-for-profit organization, and we were expecting some millions of dollars, and we were going down the pathway of getting DGR status, and we were 6 months down the track and spent $10,000, and we were still working on it. So it's not the kind of thing you really need to get started, but be clear. Be clear on what your organization does. Most people come to me and say, is there a grant for me? I don't know. I don't know unless you tell me what you do. I don't know unless you know in your heart of hearts what it is, what the change is that you make in the world. So think about, if you've got you're helping victims of domestic violence, what is the change that you're making for them? Are you taking them away on a retreat? Are you helping them get back in the workforce? What is it that you're doing? You need to be very, very specific. And let me tell you, once you get specific, the money comes. All right. So the second thing that you need to do, or the second thing after getting clear on what it is that you're doing, is work out a budget. Now, I've worked with some people who have engaged me, and we've worked through the process of what it is that they want to do, and they don't actually need money. That might not be you, but it's not money that's holding them back. What is holding them back is actually a plan, a structured plan. So I'm going to be doing a one-page template, one-page plan. So if you're in this group, then you can get hold of my one-page plan. So that's what's really needed, is a plan on how you're going to get from A to B. What is it that you're going to do? So you need to have a plan. And, I've spent thousands of dollars and attended many workshops over 20 years that I've been applying for grants, many, many workshops. And then I got elected to local government. So I got to see, I did the workshops, and then I got elected. So I got to see on the other side of the decision-making process. So I understand how this goes. But I spent thousands of dollars attending workshops and learning what to do. So I am doing my utmost best. I'm doing everything I can to provide you with the freebies in this group so that you have the tools that you need. But if you need to work with me, there's links in the comments. There's a link to set up a time where you can go. If you want to go one-on-one, then I'm fine to do that. And I'm also, what's really exciting, and where people most often get the breakthroughs, is I'm doing a workshop. Now, people have found tens of thousands of dollars. All right. So I've set up special school, cafe for people with disabilities. When you work with me, if you take the steps, so what's the difference between somebody that gets some money and somebody that doesn't? The difference is the people who work with me and take the steps actually get the money. So many times people will turn around and say to me, that was great, Christine. I took the steps. I got the money. But the people who don't take the steps don't actually get the money. I know it's simple. I know I might sound like a broken record, but if you take the steps, if you're passionate about what you do, the money will come, but you need to take the steps. You need to actually take the steps. There is no one list where you're going to find the grants. I know in some of the groups people say, oh, so-and-so provides a list every week of grants that come out. That's great. That's great. I've been on those lists too. But most often what you'll find is you're not actually eligible for those grants. What you'll find is that you just fall through the cracks. So what I advocate for is mapping out what it is you do and then looking for what it is that you need. Might not be money. Might not be money. Okay, so September 5, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm running an online workshop, so the link is in the comments. So love for you to get on board with that. It says live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. This isn't okay. Trying to work out how to get the little comments on the bottom of the screen. Anyway, so not-for-profits, incorporated association, or a business structure, you need to take the steps. You need to map out a plan and take the steps. And the other thing that you need to do is a budget. You need a budget for what you want to do. So if you are a startup, what do you actually need? Like, people are asking me, is there money for startups? What do you need the money for? So you need to be specific. And you know, people say, oh, duh, I just need money for a startup. I'm sorry, but that's not going to get you the money that you think you need for your startup. You need to be clear and specific. If you're asking the government or you're asking a sponsor or whoever it is you're asking, you need to be clear and specific on what you need that money for. And again, sometimes you don't actually need the money. And I've actually got, now let me see if I can get it up. I've actually got a template here. Let me see, share my screen, present. Okay, share my screen. Okay, where is it? Let me see if I can share this. So open that up, come back, share screen. No, doesn't look like I can actually share this. Let me see. No, it doesn't look like I can actually share this, but I actually have a template on what it is you need. Okay, look, what I'll do is I will bring this template to the workshop next Tuesday night. If you want to be on the workshop, if you are a startup, then you need to map out what you actually need the money for. You know, do you need a computer? Do you need internet? There's actually not a lot that you need to start up a business. Unless you're going into manufacturing widgets and you need a factory floor and you need factory space and you need machinery, and there is money for that. There is money to set up those sorts of things. But unless you're setting up some huge organization, you don't actually need a lot of money for startups. But I will talk more about that, and I will go through the template because that'll actually be on Zoom, and I know that I can share that with you. So Tuesday night, if you want to get onto the Eventbrite, but map out what it is you think you need the money for, and then think about how much you need. Because if you don't know, you mightn't actually need any money. It might actually be a plan that you need. Because when I've worked through it for myself, you don't actually need a lot of money. You don't actually need a lot of stuff. So sometimes that might be holding you back when you can actually get going, and it's not money that you need, it's a plan. So hit me up, DM me for the template, and I will actually show the budget and the things that you'll need to consider when setting up a startup. If it's not a factory, if it's not a widget maker, there's not a lot that you actually need. If you think you need wages in Australia, there is actually a grant and it used to be called New Enterprise Incentive Scheme. It's called something else now. That's called a grant. It's actually a program that helps you get a business off the ground. But anyway, I will talk more about that in the group. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Love to hear your questions. Love to hear what you think about it. And I'll be back next Thursday at 11 answering your questions. Bye for now. Bye.